how different are the comics and movie of Marvel's Civil War? Let's, find out. Hey Marvelites, Ryan here, your friendly little bad guy, the Rhino. Dun-dun-dun. And before I start, I'm going to go ahead with a spoiler here, and there, because Civil War is the biggest movie of 2016, and you should have seen it already. So if you haven't, go, what are you waiting for? Well, I'm the only one in the MHQ group that has actually read all the Civil War comics. Okay, the main 7. Now, I'm doing a video as part of the big Civil War event on the channel, comparing the Civil War comics to the Civil War movie. So let's take a look and decide who the winner is, comics or movie. Okay, I know the Russo brothers barely had an adaptation of the comics, but they did put a few Easter eggs from the comics here and there, like one of my favorites, this scene from the movie which is almost an exact replica of one of the comic covers in Civil War. Well, let's get to the point. In the comics, the story was purely based off the Superhero Registration Act. There were at least 5 battles between the two sides. All of them have to do with the Superhero Registration Act. In Captain America Civil War, the movie, there were only 2 battles in the whole entire movie. And when I say that, I mean battles that have to do with Cap and Iron Man, the main point. Not like Black Panther chasing Bucky down a tunnel. But out of both the battles, only one actually had to do with the Sokovia Accord. The other one, in Siberia, was a very personal fight about Stark's parents and Bucky. Back to the comics. Honestly, I don't think it had the best storyline it could have had. It was good, but I mean, the whole thing was literally just fighting the whole time. But the movie almost had the exact opposite of the comic. The movie had a storyline. There was a villain, and there was a reason. I mean, they literally gave us a choice of what team was right. While in the comics, it just rushed straight into things. And there was a backline plot to the movie. I didn't make it just look like a bunch of heroes fighting in a German airport. It explained what was happening and why, with a bit of comedy throughout the film. In the comics, the series didn't really revolve around any other characters. Like, I know there were a lot, I'll give it that, but at least some of the more main characters could have been explored. In the comics, it only went to Cap, Iron Man, Mr. Fantastic, and Invisible Woman side of it things, and no development, like mindless robots doing what their masters tell them to. But in the movie, it went through each character's perspective of things and did it very well too. The way it handled all the characters was amazing. We saw most people's take on it. We saw their side to it, and before and the after effects of them, and their development alongside the arc. In the comics, there were 2 major deaths between the superhero battle that impacted the story. Although one of them was killed in the aftermath of Civil War, one was killed in it. Goliath, killed by Robot Thor, long story, and Cap, when walking to his trial in court. When Goliath died, a bunch of people swapped sides and rethought the decision. Although in the movie, sadly no one dies. When I say no one, I mean no one important, like Peggy Carter, T'Chaka, and Crossbones. Not necessarily I wanted someone to die, but I honestly think it would have a good touch to it. Make it more dramatic. Although Rhodey did get his legs paralyzed, and we probably won't see him as War Machine anymore. And if he does return, not until Infinity War, or whatever the movie's gonna be called. In the movie, no one wins. Well, not one person or team specifically. Like I said earlier, no one died, but no one wins. In a way, Iron Man and Cap both do, but they also lose. I'm not going to go into detail about the aftermath of it, as we'll probably do that in a possible future video. Back to the topic, in the comics, Iron Man's team wins, and the other heroes are forced into hiding, which is what will probably happen when Cap breaks his team out of the raft. They will probably become the Secret Avengers or something. Lastly, in the comics, the whole thing and the Registration Act was completely based off heroes showing off their identities to the public. That's what all the fuss was about. The people didn't trust the heroes anymore and wanted to know who they were. While in the movies, it was only because of the people dying in the fight with Crossbones. There are not a lot of heroes in the MCU movies, and the ones in it, people know most of their identities. So there was quite a difference between the Accords and the Registration Act. Well, that's done. Okay, let's go through it. First, the amount of battles in the movie and the comics, and their purposes. The movie and comics storylines, character development, deaths, wins, and lastly, their bases, which are the Sokovia Accord and the Superhero Registration Act. But what is better, the movies or the comics? Such a close call. I think I'll have to go with the movies, by just a slant. But honestly, what do you think? Do you like the movies or the comics better? They're both amazing. Are there any points I missed or forgot? Go down to the comics and right away. Whatever you want. Tell us in our app-only Comics Amino poll if you like the movie or the comic adaptation better. Link in the description. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like and share with all your friends. Check out our last video on the channel, which is Civil War Review with me, Mr. Sinister and Oliver Queen. And recommended video, Civil War Fight Edition. They are both part of the Civil War event on the channel. And make sure to subscribe to get all the other Civil War videos. There are a lot more, and also to keep up with our content. Well, thanks for watching and see ya!